Don't die young. In part 4, let's talk about what you're eating and what you're drinking. I think it's so important. What is your fuel that you take in? Now, I'll tell you, I'm not sure when this happened, but probably about 15 years ago or longer, we made it to the West Coast. I got in the habit of drinking 2 glasses of lemon water every morning. You know, when I travel, I have to take my lemon with me, and I have to get lemon water every morning. I don't know what it is. Now, I believe it is about your acidic level coming down. And lemon, actually, though it seems acidic, just like that apple cider vinegar, it raises your alkalinity level. It's really important to hydrate, to flush, flush, flush. But it's important to use water. We're not talking about soda, coffee, or any of these other things. We're talking about just hydrating with water. It's going to be so important for your good health. The other thing that I would probably mention is when we were traveling once, I had bought these CDs from this Dr. Andrew Weil. And I remember traveling from Wilmington, Philadelphia area back to Pittsburgh to visit family with my wife, and that time just the 2 boys. And he said 2 different things. He said, avoid high fructose corn syrup and avoid genetically modified foods. Now, when something rings really loud to you when you hear it, it's probably something you should pay attention to. Trust your instincts and your heart, or even your gut. He said high fructose corn syrup. And I started examining the ingredient lists on certain foods. I was shocked at how often high fructose corn syrup shows up in a lot of foods, especially processed foods. And the other rule of thumb is if the list of ingredients is really long and hard to pronounce, it's probably not a good food source. You'll notice when you go into Trader Joe's, a lot of things only have 3, 4, 5 ingredients, sometimes as little as 2 ingredients. That's probably a good food source. Now, TJ's, Trader Joe's, says that they try to commit to not having any genetically modified foods. Now, what are those? Corn, wheat, and soy. Interestingly, corn, high fructose corn syrup, genetically modified and high fructose. It's going to be tough for your body to process this stuff. Apparently, when you eat it, your body pulls it in, but it doesn't know quite how to process it. And I've talked to a farmer. We happen to be in the same clinic for our kids for their wellness. And I talked to a farmer from Canada, and I said, "Do you grow wheat?" He goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Do you use genetically modified wheat?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "How's that?" He goes, "We don't have to do anything with it. We plant it. We don't even have to water it. Whenever the rain comes, it comes." He says, "With regular wheat, it's a lot more challenging to raise." Well, I'm wondering if that wheat doesn't need any water when we eat it, how is it reacting to our cells? I truly believe that there's a lot of histamines or inflammation on the cell level that is caused by genetically modified foods and high fructose corn syrup. Now, you can support it with any data you want, one argument or the other, but I'm going with my gut here, folks. And I really think if you want to improve your health, look at what you're taking in. At Costco, I buy organic chicken, I buy wild caught fish, I buy free range beef because those animals can eat the grass that has the omega-3, like the chicken eggs, and that's one of the only ways we get omega-3. Or when you buy salmon, if it's not farm raised, but it's wild salmon, they eat the organisms that have omega-3 in it. And you're just going to be much healthier. If you look at salmon, farm raised and wild caught, the color difference is much deeper in the wild caught. Farmers markets, those are a fantastic place to get your produce. Here on the West Coast in California, we have 2 growing seasons. Yeah, it shuts down for about 8 weeks between mid-November to mid-January. Otherwise, we have a really good place where we can get a continuous revolving source of foods. And they don't always pay for the certification of organic, but if you ask the farmer, they'll tell you, look, we're not using any genetically modified seed here, and we're not using any sprays here. This is organic crops. And I trust them. And go with your gut again. And you'll taste the difference. When I eat spinach, I know when it's organic because I'll look at my wife and say, wow, this is really good. Is this organic? But when you get those, those conventional crops, you can tell it's more bitter. It's not as tasty. And I'll point out, when you're eating these really high quality foods, guess what? Your body won't eat as much. It won't demand as much because it won't need as much. So what are you eating and drinking? I think if you examine it, it'll really help you to not die young. So in part 5 of Don't Die Young, let's talk about your pace of life.